It's usually zooscape that have their finger pointed at them to be like, oh, zoos are bad. But people don't realise like what goes on in the wildlife world. Like, there are so many worse places than zoos.
I'm Robin Johnson, and this is Yours for the Making, and I'm joined by Cam Whitnall, Conservationist, Director of the Big Cat Sanctuary.
I love it. I wake up every day and I think like I pinch myself because I go today thinking I get to do my dream job, which is wildlife. I mean, I've grown up in it my whole life. We've got a 20-year vision. We're working on it at the minute. So once we've finished that, we'll share that with the world. But we want the sanctuary to be world leaders in big and small cat conservation and care.
This show tells the story of the makers, the people that create things, whether it's in wood or metal, whether they're artists or musicians or chefs. It doesn't matter. I'm going to tell their story.
Like, there's so many people like me, like in the wildlife world. But the only difference is that I've just picked up a camera and documented it and posted it.
And that's made all the difference.
And that is why I get the opportunities that I get.
I'm Robin Johnson, and this is Yours for the Making, and I'm joined by Cam Whitnall, Conservationist, Director of the Big Cat Sanctuary. And you've got a couple of fingers in different pies, haven't you, Cam? Probably best you tell me what you do.
Yeah, fingers in multiple pies. I'm a wildlife photographer for Nikon. Have a TV show on CBBC with my brothers called 123, and content creator, I guess, or something like, say, influencer. So have over 2 million followers across social medias: TikTok, Instagram, YouTube, Facebook. And just wildlife advocate, I guess.
Absolutely. I mean, I met you when we did a bit of work for you at the Big Cat Sanctuary. Yeah. You were in the process of rescuing 5 lions from Ukraine. We helped you with a little bit of the internal stuff in the lion house. But how did that all happen? How did you find these lions, and what was the process of the rescue? Yeah,
it's an interesting one. I wasn't actually working at the sanctuary at the time.
Really?
So I was actually at our other charity in Hertfordshire Zoo, with my brothers, my mum and dad, and I was leading projects there. But I'd always discussed it with the boys about doing rescue work, especially at the sanctuary. And it was just by chance in January, came across a video, like doom scrolling on social media one night, of a lioness called Una. And I4 shared it, International Fund for Animal Welfare, one of the largest NGOs for animal rescue rehabilitation. And yeah, the video just had this beautiful lioness called Una, and sadly she was suffering from concussion and shell shock from the bombs that were hitting Ukraine. And I remember sending the video to my brother, and I was just like, what do you think? Like, we've always spoke about it, let's do it. He was like, yeah, let's chat with the family. So I kind of jumped the gun a bit and DM'd I4 and just said, hey, how you doing? Obviously, see this lion is in trouble. Is there anything I can do? And I guess at the time I was thinking maybe I can use my audience to raise awareness and see if there's any homes for it. And also I have a lot of contacts in the sector, whether it be good zoos, good sanctuaries, good rescues. So maybe I could use one of them to get her out. Anyway, they ignored me. Not meaning to, they have a huge audience. So I was like, I'm a bit of a pest. I'm very persistent with things. My family likes to say I'm a dog with a bone. So I DM'd them again. They didn't answer. And then I called them, didn't answer. So then I emailed them. And luckily, Natalia Gozak, she was the correspondent out in Ukraine for I4. She got back to me on email, and she was like, yeah, let's jump on a call and see what we can do. Jumped on a Zoom call. And then from there, Natalia kind of just like, look, there's not just Una, but there's 4 other lions, Rory, Vanda, Amani, and Lyra. Can you find anywhere for them to go? And I was like, we'll get them all out without even speaking to my family about it. And so then the next day I was like, guys, these are the lions. This is all the information on them. I know we need to get blood results and work with the vet out there to get some tests on them, but let's do this. Let's get them out of Ukraine. And from there, it was just kind of, we just got to work. But to get them out of Ukraine, obviously, it's a huge process. And also, I had to go to the sanctuary then to also update the team to say, look, we're going to be getting these 5 lions out of Ukraine, and we're going to be building a state-of-the-art forever home for them, because there was no space for them at the sanctuary at the time. So obviously all the team were like, right, this is wild, because I wasn't actually really doing much at the sanctuary. So obviously for me to just come down there and say we're going to rescue 5 lions and build a forever home was probably a lot for a lot of people to take. So yeah, we just got started from that, really. Assembled the team. So Bryony, our curator, who oversees all the cats at the sanctuary, she was the main person responsible for all the paperwork and working with the vets to get all the health checks done and blood tests, so we can make sure that we can get the lions out. Then we hired and worked with cross-border animal services, who had a transport company who were willing to go into Ukraine to work with us to get the lions out and create them up, because it's a very specialized sort of transport for them. And then obviously working alongside I4, so Natalia Popova, who owns the Wild Animal Rescue Center just outside Kyiv, working with her, who had the lions at her center, which was a converted horse stables, just to keep them there for the time being to find the way out. And then Natalia Gozak from I4, and she also spoke English, which was very helpful, because I don't speak Ukrainian and Natalia Popova doesn't speak English. So she was kind of the middle person to help us communicate. And then we launched a fundraising appeal as well. So, I mean, it was an interesting one, because I came into the sanctuary at a bit of an interesting time there. And when I started, our marketing team had all left as well. So we only had one person in marketing, but I came into the sanctuary saying, look, we're going to rescue these 5 lions. We're going to build this forever home, which is going to be absolutely massive, but also try and raise £500,000 and raise awareness about what we're doing for animal rescue. And obviously with just one person on marketing. So it was a lot, and one person on fundraising. But yeah, we managed in that just under a year to build probably arguably the best lion habitat in the UK, raise over £500,000 to get the lions out and build this forever home, have global press and awareness multiple times throughout the year, back to back on national press as well, with GMB making front page of the Times, probably most broadcasters, over 2 billion impressions on article clicks. It was the press side of it was major. Get a documentary, which is being made at the minute on the lion rescue. Collaborate with TikTok for Good, which is initiative with TikTok to raise the profile of creators who are trying to make a change, called the Change Makers Program, which went viral on TikTok, the story. And also just add a different approach to animal rescue in our sector, because no one, I would say, has marketed a rescue like that before. So yeah, I know I've gone on a bit of a tangent there, but and much more. So yeah, we got it all completed within under a year,
which was a really fantastic achievement. And let's going back to those lions. You've seen a video about Una, but actually those lions, you wouldn't think, oh, they've come from a zoo that's been bombed, or that's probably what you would think. You'd think, oh, they're living in a zoo and that zoo's probably been shelled or bombed, or there's nobody working there. That wasn't the case though, was it?
No, it wasn't. That was like the one question I still got. People always say, oh, yeah, it's good that they were rescued from a zoo. And I was like, no, it wasn't a zoo. It was the illegal pet trade. And what the war did was expose the illegal wildlife trade in Ukraine. So all 5 lions are from the illegal wildlife trade. Little Vanda, she was found in a flat, malnourished, riddled with parasites. She'd never been outside before. She was only a cub. She was just being kept as someone's pet. Una was obviously suspected to be used for illegal breeding. When they found her, she was just living on a concrete floor, 4x4 cell. She couldn't even stand. She had severe muscle depletion. She was suffering from rickets. She had neurological issues, obviously from the bombs as well. And then you had Rory, suspected to be used for the illegal breeding in a private menagerie, and then Amani and Lyra to fuel the cub petting trade, suspected to be used for illegal breeding, all in terrible, terrible conditions, usually, most of them all in concrete floors, in just 4 walls, caged, to fuel the demand. And the illegal wildlife trade is the 4th biggest illegal trade on the planet.
Really?
Yeah. So, some of these lions could have probably, maybe a generation before them, like their parents or their grandparents could have been pulled from the wild to fuel the trade. That's usually how it's done. And yeah, they sadly end up in people's homes or as pets, which is gutting because it is one of the biggest impacts of wildlife.
But it's not something necessarily that you'd consider straight away when you think of lions. You wouldn't think, oh, I want to go and buy one of them to put in my house. I mean, obviously there's been celebrities over the years that have had, you know, Mike Tyson, I think had a tiger or lion or something like that. There's a number of celebrities who had exotic pets because, you know, if you've got sort of celebrity money, you want something that no one else has got. And I guess exotic animals kind of, that's the next level, isn't it, of having a pet. It's I want the pet that no one else has got.
Yeah.
And I think the first time that I was really aware of that was during lockdown when I watched that show, is it Tiger King?
Tiger King with Joe Exotic.
Batshit crazy. Absolutely batshit crazy. But what it made me realise was there are people who buy animals like that, which I never even considered before.
Yeah, it's interesting because it's usually zoos that have their the finger pointed at them to be like, oh, zoos are bad. But people don't realise like what goes on in the wildlife world. Like, there are so many worse places than zoos. And there's good and bad in everything. So there's amazing zoos doing incredible things for wildlife, whether it be conservation, science, research, education, endangered species breeding programs. But there's also bad zoos. There's good sanctuaries and bad sanctuaries. There's good rescues, bad rescues, good national parks, bad national parks of what they do in those areas. And yeah, it's a weird world, and trying to communicate that with people, no one really knows. But and I urge people to kind of do their research and explore it more, because when they start, really looking into it, then they'll find a lot of problems in this sector.
What makes the difference between a good zoo and a bad zoo?
A good zoo and a bad zoo. Good zoos are for the animals, you know, so they are putting wildlife first. I mean, DEFRA just released the standards, which I partnered with them on, the new zoo standards for Britain. And they are the highest standards globally for welfare of animals. And zoos now, by 2027, need to be putting wildlife first with welfare, conservation, education, science, research, and the endangered species breeding programs. A bad zoo are ones that exploit animals for entertainment and aren't ticking all the above, are purely doing it to, you know, profit and benefit from animals in the wrong way.
Get feet through the door.
Yeah, but what people don't realise is that zoos are licensed in the UK, whereas sanctuaries and rescues aren't.
I didn't know that.
Yeah.
But I know that you did recently go in and rescue a load of animals from a sanctuary that was shut down, essentially, wasn't it?
Yeah, I think it's really just trying to change or just educate people on the whole sector within wildlife. Like, and as I said, there's good zoos and bad zoos, good sanctuaries, bad sanctuaries, good rescues, bad rescues, and you know, the list goes on. With sanctuaries, there are a lot of bad sanctuaries in the UK, a lot, and also around the world, where I guess it's just the name that people think, oh, sanctuary, it must be good. And it has a lot of positive connotations around that word, whereas zoos have a lot of negative like connotations. But really, it's kind of like flipped. Like, there's more, in my opinion, good zoos than good sanctuaries, because also good zoos are rescuing animals already, have wildlife hospitals, or doing work with native species or species around the world to support with rescue, rehabilitation, and also release. Whereas, yeah, we shut down a sanctuary in Hertfordshire called the Cat Survival Trust. Started in November 2024. The founder, welfare violations, unsanitary conditions. And when we went in, the site was appalling. And it's because of DWAs, dangerous wild animal licenses. They're really easy to apply for. And if you can get a DWA, if the local authorities accept it, with a couple of others, like vets and others, the standards are minimum, then you can have a tiger or a lion or monkeys or whatever it may be. And that's as far as it goes. But yeah, with this place, that's what he had. He was nearly killed by one of his pumas because of how unsafe the conditions were on that site. And it was like going onto the site, it was a hoarder's paradise.
Really?
It was shocking. And, I think it's important to be open about these things, that there were some of the worst conditions I've seen for animals. And I've been around the world. I've seen a lot of bad stuff. I've seen some bears kept in 4x4 concrete cages, which was ran by the government in Sumatra, which was probably the worst thing I've seen in wildlife. But yeah, Cat Survival Trust, it was definitely up there. I mean, the water was green and brown and black with the cats that were living on site, hadn't been tidied in months, maybe a year, with feces, bones, like honestly. But the Hertfordshire Zoo and the sanctuary worked together to oversee the operation for those 3 months. And if we couldn't get those cats out in those 3 months, then they were going to euthanize all of them. And this guy had Amur leopard, the world's most endangered big cat on the planet, which was in his hands. Jaguars, pumas, Frank, the Asian golden cat, who we...
Beautiful cat.
He's beautiful. But he's the only one in the UK. There's only 11 in Europe. It was appalling. But working Hertfordshire Zoo and the Big Cat Sanctuary, we managed to get 23 of the cats out. Sadly, seven due to health and age-related issues, had to be put to sleep with the vets that we worked with to get to work on the site. But yeah, there's a lot of places like that in the world, and also in the UK, which people don't realise.
And when you took them out, obviously you housed 1 or 2 at the Big Cat Sanctuary, maybe a couple at the zoo, but you found other homes for them as well.
Yeah, that's a beautiful thing about it, was that, like the lion rescue that we did from Ukraine, like NGOs work together with good zoos, good sanctuaries, good rescues, and good animal organisations to get the lions out. And the same applied for the Cat Survival Trust. We worked with good zoos, good sanctuaries, good rescues, good just a lot of also good private owners who also have DWAs but care for animals in the right way, with welfare being the priority. So we worked with a lot of people to get all the 23 cats out, and we took 3 on at the sanctuary. So we took on Bosun the fishing cat, Frank the Asian golden cat, and Reese the Eurasian lynx, and they're beautiful and they've transformed, and it's really nice to see, and that's why we do it. It is for the animals, and I love it. I wake up every day and I think, like, I pinch myself because I go today thinking I get to do my dream job, which is wildlife. I mean, I've grown up in it my whole life. But to be able to rescue cats and also conserve endangered species is like a dream for me.
But if we go back quite a number of years, if it wasn't for your granddad buying a plot of land to park buses, you might well be immersed by buses and coaches, mightn't
you? Yeah, maybe.
I mean, I've watched the documentary. It is quite incredible, really, isn't it? The story is your granddad and your grandma had a bus and coach company, and they were looking for somewhere to buy a bit of land to park their buses and coaches. Right? I've watched it. This is right. Tell me if I'm getting
No, go for it.
And they find the zoo, where Hertfordshire Zoo is. Paradise Park, was it called?
It was called Broxbourne Zoo.
Okay,
in the 1980s.
That's it. So they bought that with the intention of probably parking up the vehicles there. Yeah. But when they get there, all of a sudden it's like, oh, actually, these animals are great. Let's make this a zoo and let's make it work. And what you were just describing about the cat sanctuary that you've, or the cat sanctuary that you just kind of helped empty out. This kind of sounds like the state that the zoo was in when your granddad bought it. Yeah.
And it's weird because, I mean, it's like 40 years apart, right? But sadly, it's still going on today. But yeah, when they took over in the 1984, they had, it all started with Bobby the Lion.
Bobby the Lion with the dreadlocks. He'd never walked on grass before.
He'd never walked on grass before. Living in a concrete cell, 4x4, built of like scaffolding posts and
like pallets and a bit of chicken wire.
Yeah, chicken wire. It was shocking. And he was about 12. And, they had a chimpanzee that smoked cigarettes, chained up. And that was purely for entertainment. And it should have been shut down. They had animal rights protesters at the gates like every single day. And it was regarded as the worst zoo in the UK. So, he had quite the vision to be able to take on a place like that. And obviously his first job was to build Bobby a new home where he could run on grass for the first time, which they achieved. And they didn't have, there was the original zookeepers at the time that were caring for the animals that helped, but also they had like bus and coach drivers like build the home for Bobby, which was wild. But they achieved it. And that video, that moment where Bobby steps outside on the first time in his life is like a precious moment. And what's amazing is that 40 years on, with Una, the lioness, who we rescued from Ukraine, they say like history repeats itself. She lived in a concrete floor, 4x4, never been on grass before. And then we built her a home where she could run on grass for the first time in her life. And yeah, it's quite cool. From granddad to grandson. Yeah.
It is very cool.
Bobby to Una. Yeah, no, it is really nice. But yeah, my granddad is a visionary. And that's why I obviously do what I do today. And also my mum and my dad, my nan, my two brothers. It's a family charities, family businesses. And I've been lucky enough to grow up in them my whole life.
And what was your path into it? Were you there every weekend and all holidays working at the zoo, or did you go off and study to forward your education in that area? Or how did you get from, being a kid, going to the zoo all the time, living at the zoo, or whatever it was, to where you are now?
Yeah, so as a kid, I was obsessed with animals. I would, so much so that I'd go over to like local ponds or ponds within the zoo and pick up ducks or terrapins or somehow fish and take them over home and be like, look what I've got. Which is pretty mad for a 5-year-old to be able to catch a duck, I think. I mean, I couldn't catch a duck and I'm 30 now, nearly. But yeah, I was obsessed with animals. And I had like a 5-page document of when I was really young. And it was like 100 animals that I want to save when I'm older. And I remember sitting on my granddad's lap, reading it to him, being like, we need to save this. And it had like blue whale and stuff, which it's a bit big. But yeah, it was interesting growing up in the business and at the zoo. And my mum obviously got us to work there. So I started out as the Easter Bunny. I was always the baby Easter Bunny because I've always been short. So yeah, we had to do like Easter Bunny and costume characters. And we worked in like every single department, from catering to retail, park services, and then also on with the animals. So I loved birds and reptiles when I was a kid. I had a load of reptiles at my house as well. And that's what I was obsessed with. Also because I couldn't work with cats when I was like 8 or 9. But I was classed as the youngest zookeeper in the UK. Back in the day, I was on Blue Peter for it.
Oh wow! Did you get a badge?
Yeah, I have loads of badges.
Have you?
Yeah.
So jealous.
Yeah, I'll give you one.
No.
I can't say that.
You have to
actually,
earn a Blue Peter badge.
Yeah, but so yeah, I loved wildlife. It's all I ever known. And then, Mia and Tyler, we also wanted to go to uni and kind of do our own thing. And I kind of fell into what I'm doing now because I was at school. I was never good in school. I was like bottoms at everything. I was pretty useless. I really struggled to focus and find interest in it. And when it came I managed to like scrape by with like 5 Bs and 5 Cs at GCSE to get into A levels. And then I was like, okay, I'm going to study geology. I don't know why. Geography, business. And I needed one more course. So I was like, media. Because my mates in the year above were like, do media. All you do is watch films. And I was like, result, that sounds great. So I did media, and it turns out I loved, what I was doing, like picking up a camera and going to film and create videos. I found it was just really interesting. And how could I apply that to maybe wildlife, to tell stories? I'd grown up watching David Attenborough, Steve Backshall, Steve Irwin, who were like an inspiration to me. So maybe I can go into that world, but be behind the camera, going around the world telling stories of animals, but bringing it back to the zoo and sanctuary. And then I did really bad at A level, but the one I excelled in was media. So I got a great result in media, but business, geography, and we won't talk about geology. That was I did really bad there. But I dropped out and then went to college and studied media, moving image at college for 2 years. Got the highest grade they'd had there since the course began, which was cool. Got into Bournemouth Uni. And I did enjoy uni, but the course, I studied TV production because I kind of wanted to keep that going. But it was Facebook was like on the rise, YouTube was on the rise, and I was kind of really interested in social media and like content creation in that way. And I just didn't really enjoy going to classes. I felt it was very dated. I was looking at old school broadcast, and I got quite lucky because in after second year, I had to go get a placement for 4 weeks or a year, but none of my course decided to do a year. But all of my housemates that I lived with, they studied other subjects. And I'm going on a bit of a tangent here, but it all comes back to what I'm doing today. They all had they all had to get a year placement. So I was thinking, God, I don't want to do my final year without any of my mates. Like, that sounds awful. So I went to apply for some jobs for a year, placement jobs. And I came across Jungle Creations, which is a social media video company who would create what we call video articles of cool things that you see on the internet. And they'll have a little narrative that runs through. And I went for the interview, fell in love with it, learnt their style, went to the interview, got offered the role on the day as a 1 month internship. And I was like, God, it's a bit of a gamble, because if they don't want to hire me within a month, I have to go back to uni and then do my final year without anyone. So I worked really hard. Within the first week I got hired, and within the first 3 months I got promoted to head of video, overseeing a team of 20. Wow. And then we were creating some of the biggest videos on Facebook, 200 million views on airbag cyclist helmets. And, our competitors were Lab Bible and Disney and all of these other huge channels at the time, which, it's changed because Instagram's now rose up, YouTube's obviously picked up, TikTok's now a thing, Snapchat's now a thing, and Facebook's kind of gone backwards a bit. But yeah, we had the most video views in the world at some stages per month compared to anyone else. We were achieving over 4 billion views a month, which was quite wild. And the Jungle were awesome, and I kind of learned the algorithm on how to create viral videos on social media. So I went back to uni, got my first class honours, and I was like, all right, I've learned social media and how to create content. I'm going to apply it to the zoo and sanctuary. So from there, went back to the zoo and sanctuary, and I was like, cool, I can kind of do what I love, which is telling stories. I'm still working with animals, but in a different way than being as a keeper, which I'd kind of grown up doing, and build up our presence on social media to get more people interested in the work that we're doing at the zoo and at the sanctuary. And when I took over, we were probably 33rd in our sector, or industry, from a following, and now we're 1 and 2 in the country in terms of our social media followings and engagement, both at the zoo and the sanctuary. And we kind of created the social media presence for, I'd probably say, zoos in the country, and changed all of that with Ty and our marketing team. And in COVID hit, sorry, I'm going on a bit of a tangent, but we'll come back to it. COVID hit, and then we had to kind of find ways to bring in donations and keep the businesses afloat. And obviously social media was really key in that. But we also got an opportunity to do a TV series called 1Z3. We'd done some conservation work in East Africa, which we filmed, packaged it all up, and CBC gave us a chance with True to Nature. And I was like, all right, we're going to be on TV, on kids TV. I've kind of gone from being behind the lens to being in front of the lens. I should probably start social media. And I was also at the time working with our trustee Matt Brady and Limelight to also help footballers and presenters on their social medias as well. But I was like, I'm telling them how to do their social medias, and I've only got 1,000 followers. So I should probably practice what I preach. So I launched my TikTok, and I was really worried at the time because I didn't want my mates seeing me, because I thought it was kind of embarrassing. And I had obviously no followers on TikTok and only about 1,000 followers on Instagram. But I was like, with the TV show coming out, I should probably get ahead of it. I know how to create social media content. And then within a week, I had 100,000 followers, went viral quite a lot. And then from there, I kind of just grew up my channels while also having my full-time job and doing other things. And I was able to tell stories on conservation, my wildlife photography. I started picking up a camera and taking pictures. So I only started photography 5 years ago. And then Nikon came knocking as well, and then became a Nikon creator. And that's really lucky because I get to go around the world taking pictures of animals. And then, I get to share awesome stories about wildlife. And today, through my social media channels, built up to like over 2 million followers, alongside the zoo and sanctuary, which combined has a total of like 8 million followers, and get really cool experiences while doing what I love. And then have 5 series now of 1, 2, 3 spin-off show. We're in schools on BBC Bite Size, which is great. I think
living the dream.
You
wake up every day thinking, yeah, this is all right.
Yeah.
But it's not, every day is not a dream though, is it? I mean, it is hard work. I worked quite closely with you for a number of months, more months than we should have worked together.
Yeah.
But I worked quite closely with you for a number of months, and it isn't a fairy tale. Running a zoo or sanctuary is actually, it's a lot of work, especially if you've got, building projects. There are always going to be problems, delays, suppliers letting us, you down, whatever it is. But I think the story that you tell, there's always that Instagram versus reality aspect to it. And the reality is it's bloody hard work. You're up early, you're traveling between the two places, you're traveling all over the world to do other stuff, but you've always got, it's almost taken away that because you're away traveling all around the world, you're not paying as much attention as you'd like to on a project or on an element of the zoo or whatever it is. So you're juggling, it seems to me like you're juggling spinning all these plates, juggling all these balls at the same time, which is fantastic. You're doing an incredible job, but it looks like it takes a lot from you to be able to do that.
Yes. No, it's a lot of work. Obviously, I was made managing director of the sanctuary this year, in February, off the back of the lion rescue and sort of what I was doing there, and obviously what I was doing at the zoo from 2024 and like from 2018 actually to 2024, and I fell into it in a way. And my focus at the time was kind of having a balance of what I was doing at the zoo, my social medias, which is obviously like opens up lots of opportunities, and I can raise more awareness about wildlife and their threats, and also wildlife photography. So I was balancing multiple things, and obviously the TV show as well. But when I was given the opportunity to be the director of the sanctuary, my focus did shift. And, at the time, the sanctuary was in a position where it needed a lot of change. So I was like, all right, I'm going to put a lot of this on the back burner. I still need to do some of it, but I just kind of restructured my life in a way, because I had to move down to Kent from Hertfordshire. None of my friends are in Kent, none of my family are in Kent, but obviously our team's there. And then the sanctuary, it's a huge business. It's a big business. There's over 60 staff. We're going, as I said, going through lots of changes, and there's lots of things. There's a big ambition of where we want to take it. So it needs majority of my time. So I've had to put a lot of things on the back burner. But I'm kind of doing what I love, and it was always my dream to run the sanctuary, to be honest with you.
Was it?
Yeah. But what you see on social media is very different to what I do day to day. Like social media is probably 5-10% of what I do. A lot of the time it is in meetings, driving, a lot of late nights, in my office, working out. How we can take the sanctuary forward in the right way and what we can do. And also other opportunities that I'm working on. It's probably 90% of my life is behind the laptop or in meetings, planning and sorting things out. That 10% is is why I do what I do. It's worth it. And I wake up every day really early because there is a lot of things that I have to manage. But if I didn't love it, I wouldn't do it. And there's still so much I want to achieve. And I'm 29. I mean, I turned 30 in July, but there's so much that I want to achieve that I don't want to look back when I'm 80 and think, why didn't I do that? Why didn't I attempt it? I might as well just do as much as I can now, because I will regret it. And there's so many, even looking back, like 5 years ago, I could have started so many things earlier. I could have done things. And I have that mindset now where I'm just like, just do it. Yeah. That's literally, just do it. What do you have to lose? you never know what can happen. And that was the same thing I applied to literally everything. The lion rescue, which has changed my life like completely. Managing director of the sanctuary, like, yeah, just do it. Like, don't even think about it. Just crack on. My social medias, which obviously I collaborate with some of the biggest brands in the world, Disney, Nikon, to name a few. If I didn't have that mindset, then I wouldn't be where I am today. And I am super impatient. And some people say it's a good thing, and some people say it's a bad thing, but I wouldn't be where I am today without being impatient. I like being impatient because it gets you to where you want to be quicker. Sometimes, like, you have to like make compromises and sometimes you might rush things, but yeah, if I didn't just do it, then I wouldn't be in the position I am today. And what I'm working on currently, which is going to change a lot in my life as well. It's like there's always another level to get to, and I hate just being in that mindset of being comfortable. I always push myself to strive to do more, because there's always more you can do. It doesn't matter how good you are at something, there's always someone else out there doing better. So I always look at who's next, who do I need to aspire to be like. And that's applied to everything.
I do the same. I look at it here, I'm like, what's the next step on the ladder? Like, you can never be complacent. If you're not moving, you may as well be dead.
Yeah.
Whereas for me, it's like, where's the next step? What's the next thing we can do? What's the next biggest achievement? What's the next machine we need to get? What's the next step up in terms of projects that we need to do? How can we be 10 times better this time next year? And I think it tires some people out. Certainly at home, when I go home and tell my ideas to my partner, she's like, man, I just wish you just sort of calm down. I think that's the last thing I want to do. Yeah. I want to be excited about going in every day, and I am. I want to be excited about going in. I want to have something to look forward to. I want to be weighing up the risks of this potential project and this opportunity, and I want to be looking for new things that excite me all the time. Mm-hmm. But that's not everybody's like that, and I have to get my head around that sometimes, with people that, not necessarily that I work with here, but just people that I come across in doing this job. There's people that are just really happy just doing what they're doing, and I have to respect that. And
that's fine.
And if it works for them, then great. But for me, I'm like, no, I need that. I've got that hunger, and I know you've got it too. We're kind of similar like that. But I think without that, life's just boring, And I've never been one just to stand still and let it pass me by. You have to take every opportunity, and you've got to just grab by the balls and run with it. That's what I think.
I agree. Yeah.
If it goes wrong, it goes wrong.
Yeah. Don't get me wrong. Things go wrong.
Yeah.
You've seen that firsthand with the Lion Rescue Centre. There's a lot went wrong.
A lot went wrong. But in the end, it all turned out.
Yeah.
It was a lot of extra effort on your behalf, on my behalf, on the whole team that was involved. I mean, there's probably about 20 different companies who were involved with that, and that push to the end was phenomenal. I've worked on a lot of projects. I've never worked on a project like that where everybody clubbed together for that final push to get it over the line for the Lions to arrive. We were there working till like 2:00 in the morning with all your staff there.
Yeah.
And everyone was just mucking in. Your mum was there. She's come around making sure everyone was okay, sweeping out the dens and stuff. It was a real sense of achievement when it was done, but it was a real nice bonding thing to work alongside people we'd never worked with before. And, within a day or two, we're just getting on like old friends. It was really nice. It's hard. Don't get me wrong. It was really hard, but it was a really nice...
A lot of sleepless nights.
Yeah, for me, a lot of sleepless nights worrying about if stuff's going to get there, when it's going to arrive, if it's going to ever arrive, if it's going to be good enough, or it's not good enough, whatever. It was difficult because sometimes with projects, as you know, things are out of your hands. You rely on someone else. And I expect, I've seen it just with that sanctuary, but with a lot of the projects that I guess you're going to be involved with, it's at least here, 90% of the work that comes in, we're doing it, and we're doing it in-house. And that's going to happen more and more to the point where we're doing 100% of everything here, because I'm a massive control freak and I need the control of it all to make sure it's all done right. Whereas as soon as I farm something out, I think, oh God, please go right. And often it doesn't. And I know the same thing for you. You got the good people that you work with, but there's so many things that, at the sanctuary or things that you farm something out to someone, and then because you've got this high expectation, it's often not met.
Yeah. We definitely had supply issues with the Lion Rescue Centre, which was obviously, there was loads of curveballs. I mean, that was the biggest project I've ever done. Coming into the sanctuary at a time when we didn't have the right amount of staff to be able to deliver it. So obviously we had to work with contractors, all new processes that I'd never done before, our team's never done before. And it was a mega project. It was massive, and it was a huge demand, and it asked for on everyone's, to get 5 lions out of a war zone. Also communicate that with the world and take that risk, because I mean, I remember when we launched that campaign, no one does that because the risk is so great. Like, they're in a war zone. The reality is they could be killed at any time, and bombs were falling right by the centre. I was in communication with Natalia's most days, and the videos were, I could only imagine. I can't imagine what they were going through. I mean, I was seeing it, and I was seeing what was happening out there, and it was shocking and awful. But obviously, it pushed me to want to work faster to get the lines out, and obviously, I was pushing the team to, work faster to get the lines out as well. But just taking that risk to show the world through social media the realities of what goes into rescuing animals, especially from a war zone. And no one wants to show that because, as I said, animals in transport, once they're anaesthetized, they can have bad reactions and sadly pass away. On the transport moves on countless occasions, not for us, but it has happened where animals die on transport, or when they move into their new home, they can sadly pass away if they don't acclimatize to it in the right way. Also, as I said, they could have been killed at any moment because they were in a war. So the risk was huge, but we launched it, people got behind it, and then obviously when you had to fuel that to keep people interested and engaged, to be able to raise the funds to be able to build the centre, but also the transport costs to get them out, while working with multiple countries to get tons and tons and tons of paperwork documents. It's ridiculous.
It's not something you can just
There's
do
so much red
off
tape.
your own back. We turn up in a loot and chuck the lines in the back and drive home, is it? It's not as easy as that.
It's not. And there's honestly, it took so many people to come together. And that was the beautiful thing, is that it brought together just awesome people doing awesome things for wildlife. And then obviously trying to build this huge area, which the sanctuary at the time didn't have the right infrastructure or drainage or electric supply it was a lot. So we had to do all of that before even starting the build. We had to finish 2 enclosures as well, which were mid-build as well, which I came into in April, and I was like, we need to get this done before the Lion Rescue Centre. So we had to finish them off as well, which we did within 3 months. And then, build this huge rescue centre, which was now when you look at it, you think, wow, that is a special place for these lions. They're lucky because of the people that worked on it to get it done. And it was a Hail Mary in the end, because we had the worst winter possible. It was meant to be finished in December, and then it went on to mid-March when we did the opening. And it was a Hail Mary, because the lions came over, and while we were literally driving back from Belgium, you guys were still in there finishing off the house. And if we didn't have that house done, then we'd have to, I don't know what the other option was. There was no B or C plan. And it was just literally only plan A.
I had a plan B.
Yeah. But it did literally come to the wire, and it was just it was a Hail Mary, but everyone chipped in. And I remember being on the phone to Adam and you, and I was being like, how are we looking? Is it finished? Is the house done? What's going in? What do we need to do? And I think it was 40 minutes to go before we arrived at the lines. You guys finished off, or the team finished off, and welcomed the lions and that was a special evening. There was a lot of emotion that day from everyone, and it was all that weight just dropped. Just think, we've done it. We've got the lions to safety. We finished the rescue centre, and then it was just enjoying them take their first steps outside and seeing what everyone's achieved. It was that was the best, most stressful time of my life, but the best time and experience of my life. I learned a lot from it, but hopefully the next project won't be as challenging.
What is the next project?
what is the next project?
Because once you start a project like that, that's the biggest thing you've ever done at that time. For me, it's like, oh, what's the next biggest thing I can do? And what's when I finish that one, what's the next thing I can do? I can see you've got a bit between your teeth now.
Yeah.
It's not like you're going to let the sanctuary just kind of chill out and just get a few more people through the door. You got a vision for it.
Yeah. We've got a 20-year vision. We're working on it at the minute. So once we've finished that, we'll share that with the world. But we want the sanctuary to be world leaders in big and small cat conservation and care. And we're on our way to being that.
What does that actually look like, though? As a thing, if you were the world leaders in conservation and care, is that in terms of the environments that the cats live in? Is that the facilities that you've got there, or the delivery of the education, or what does it mean?
All of that.
Really?
The best facilities in the world, best standards and protocols with working for cat care and welfare, education programs, our communications and messaging, conservation work, research, science. We're ticking every single box possible that we can, and also delivering it to the highest standard possible with the best team at our disposal. So yeah, that's the plan, and I love our team. Like, we have a great team, and we're going to get there. I believe we will. And I love the sanctuary, and it honestly has so much potential to be really, really incredible.
And it is a charitable trust, isn't
Yes.
it? So my understanding of a trust is that you've got the trustees. It's essentially a committee.
Yeah.
And then you report to them, but they'll vote on most things. How do you find that as a process? Have you got trustees that are generally on board with your vision?
Yes.
Good.
I think everyone knows where the sanctuary needs to go. So we all sing from the same hymn sheet. We're all like, yeah, that's where we need to aim for, like the tip top. Yeah, we're on our way to that. And yeah, the trustees they're brilliant, and they're all in it for the same reason. And they want to deliver the best sanctuary possible and the best experience possible.
I think that's incredibly important when everyone's aligned in a vision, because, a camel's a horse designed by a committee, isn't it? Is this how the saying goes? And everyone's got their own idea of what they want it to do. But unless you've got a complete vision alignment, you never get from A to B. You get from A to B, but someone's got an idea over here and someone's got an idea over there, and you'll end up zigzagging all the way there. I was talking to your mum about the channel crossing, about when you look at the GPS and you've zigzagged all the way. But that for me here, I can go from A to B because it's mine, and I've always kept it as mine. I don't ever want any investment. I don't want any partners, because I want the ultimate decision to go, yeah, I'm going to go from A to B, and that's how I'm going to do it.
Yeah.
Whereas I think unless you've got everyone on board, doing that with a committee that has an ultimate choice or decision to say one way or the other, I'd find that quite difficult.
Yeah, no, everyone's on board, and I get that. And we have over the years had people that aren't on board. But we're in a really good position now where, the profile of the sanctuary and the zoo is rising, like, massively. And arguably our zoo is one of the most progressive and best in the UK, I would say, in my opinion, from what I see. But it's taken time, like the last 7 years, where my mum and dad and my two brothers and myself and our team, who are unbelievable, have been working to build it to that place where, like, people come to us for a lot now, which is really important, because we are changing the game and developing constantly and progressing. And you have to do that with wildlife. Like, you learn new things all the time. And that is because we know where we want to get to in the future and build the best place possible. And the same for the sanctuary. We're just applying that model slightly differently. But the sanctuary's also, it's nice because we've never really dipped our toes into rescue work. But moving forward, we're going to have a balance of rescue and conservation. So, conservation being, endangered species breeding programs. Like, we've just had a snow leopard cub-born vulnerable species, really important for, their species. But also a lot of the work that we do globally around the world with organisations, and what we're doing with the ICN, which I'm probably not allowed to talk about, but that's massive, and that's going to be a huge game changer for us moving forward, and will hopefully get us closer to that point where we are one of the best in the world at what we do with caring for cats, and then the rescue side of it, which is rescue more cats, because I believe that we have a beautiful site for them to and a great team to be able to deliver the best care and welfare possible for them. And we want to be that place where we can help cats, not just conserve, but also help the ones that have sadly been put in a position where they've been neglected or mistreated and harmed, where we can give them a better life. And there's proven already with the lion rescue and the cats that were taken in from the Cat Survival Trust, the issues that they've had. If you see them today, they've like completely transformed. They're like different cats. It is exciting. And I think personally, the sanctuary is exciting for me because it's a niche in its own. No one else in the country is operating how the sanctuary can operate, where we're not open to the general public like a traditional zoo or other sanctuaries and rescues that can do that. We're closed, but you can only come through exclusive experiences or lodge stays. So it's like kind of like a hotel in a way, but also providing the best conservation, the best welfare, the best care for cats. And obviously we're a niche because we just have cats, big and small. There's no one else in the country that's kind of operating like that. So that's where, I feel like we can just keep going from strength to strength and progressing that more.
I mean, it's completely different from the zoo. The zoo, you go there for entertainment, it's open to the public. You really are dependent on people coming through the door.
Yeah, it's interesting because we have the exact same end goal, both sites. Both sites focus on those pillars of conservation and education and research, science, welfare and care. But the zoo is just open to the public, which is a completely different model. And I think there's around 300 zoos in the UK, where the Big Cat Sanctuary, there's only a few sanctuaries in the UK, I'd say, that can operate how we're operating. But when you look at our model, we're the only one in the UK that can operate how we're operating at the minute. So that's where the sanctuary is super exciting. The plans for the future, I'm not allowed to say at the minute, will be game changing.
What's huge potential?
What's our potential?
No, you've got a huge potential.
Oh, yeah.
There. Just on the site where it is, the potential is massive. The potential for expansion is also very big. I know who you're working with on it a little bit as well. So I think it is incredibly exciting. You've got the best of the best on board to help you realise that vision. And it is really exciting. But I look at it and I think it's a completely different business model from running a zoo, because you're not relying on getting families through the door every single day. You've got animatronic dinosaurs at Hertfordshire Zoo. You've got all these things to kind of entice children and families in. Whereas the Big Cat Sanctuary, it's just about saving the lives of big cats and preserving the legacy and stuff, isn't it?
Yeah, exactly that. And that's why I enjoy it, because it's more of a challenge, because you're not relying on footfall. So you have to think of other ways to generate revenue to be able to do the work that we're doing. And what we're doing is awesome. And we're only going to keep improving it. So the more money we can bring into the charity, the more we can do for rescue and conservation. And they're like the two main ones. And also science and research, which are two areas that we're going to be going into. And then one day, rewilding. I'd love to be able to rewild cats.
Really?
And that comes with our next step. That is the next step. My brothers are going to be like, shh, you can't say that. But it's been said now. That's the plan. Is to help cats, and release them back to their environments where they came from, which would be cool. There's no better feeling in the world.
I always wonder that actually about rewilding. If you've got a zoo, is that something that you aspire to, or is it more like you want to collect them all? It's not like Pokemon. You want to have them all here so everyone can come and see them. But the ultimate goal is to put them back into nature so they can live their lives and reproduce naturally. Yeah,
and the only way we can do that is collaborating with organisations globally. You can't just do it on your own. You have to work with other good zoos or good conservation organisations or good NGOs or business owners that are willing to support with those rewilding efforts. And it is really difficult rewilding. I mean, there's so many politics and red tape when it comes to trying to get an animal back into the wild. You've only got to see in the UK, with bears and wolves and lynxes. Bears and wolves will probably never be released back into the UK, which is a shame. I'd love to see them, but there's
not in the flesh.
I know, 100%.
Bump into one when you're walking through the woods. I'm all right, I think.
But like lynx, there's a chance for lynx to be released into the UK. I mean, obviously there was that issue where just those people released those lynx in the wrong way. But yeah, rewilding is a real toughie, and you could spend the whole podcast breaking that down.
Maybe we'll do it again.
Yeah. But that's like a dream. That is a dream. And me and my brothers, we raised money on our Drive Wildlife Conservation project in East Africa, where we donated an animal ambulance to help with rescuing and also rewilding animals. And since that, we did that in 2019. It's helped over 500 animals be rescued and also released back. And we helped with some of them as well. So we released some terrapins when we were over there last, which was a great feeling because they were also illegal pet trade. So to be able to, use the vehicle with the team out in Uganda and Newark to be able to then go and put these terrapins back into the wild was like the best thing ever.
Do you know, that reminds me of a story actually. I took my kids down to the park opposite where we lived, and we were feeding ducks, and they were probably toddlers, 3-4 years old, and we were feeding ducks little bits of bread and whatnot, and all of a sudden this terrapin just came up from a pond in a park. Terrapin came up, it's probably 6 inches across, nipped a bit of bread, disappeared off again. And for a couple of minutes I was thinking, is this real? Like, is this a real thing? But then I spoke to someone else about it. Apparently in the late 90s, a lot of people were getting terrapins as pets because of Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles or whatever. And they bit and they nipped people's fingers, so people were just releasing them into ponds and stuff. But there's probably maybe there's a mating pair in there or something. But this thing was quite big. I was really surprised to see it. But they do actually live in a few places around here, don't they?
And invasive species, majority of the time are one of the biggest impactors for wildlife in the world. So like terrapins and stuff, because they'll eat like newts and tadpoles and
so I guess they are an invasive species, aren't they?
Yeah.
So as a conservationist, would you try and get them out and put them back to somewhere where they would have come from originally, or what would the move be there?
There's different approaches to different wildlife, to be honest with you. Yeah, some probably people would be upset by it, but some has to be done. But yeah, invasive species can be a real problem to environments and other animals. So it's just about managing that. But I'll leave that for proper conservationists to talk about. But yeah, there's a lot of interesting things in the wildlife world, and you can discuss so many topics. And yeah, my big thing moving forward as well is having real world change. So influencing policies and standards across the UK and maybe even the world one day to help wildlife. And it goes back to dangerous wild animals. And, I've just worked with DEFRA on a couple of things and with the zoo standards and stuff. And yeah, I'd love to kind of support animals more, but have an actual impact, actually make a difference, have an actual change because there are so many animals still to this day that are neglected and in the wrong hands. And how many animals have to die until we wake up and realize we should probably fix what we're causing. And Cats of Trust is a perfect example. How many cats died over the last 20 years because it took local authorities and other organizations too long to respond to it. But if those policies and standards were in place now or before, then that wouldn't have been the case, most likely.
And what could the average person do to help the cause? If someone was listening to this and they were thinking, I really want to get involved, I really want to help this cause, what could someone do?
Do your own research, I guess, into a topic that you're interested in. Go to your local good zoo, conservation site, find out more from the team, volunteer or look into that side of it. Raise awareness on social media. Everyone has a voice. Like everyone. I try and so many people say to me actually, I couldn't do social media. I have nothing interesting to talk about. And I always say every single person is interested in that. There is always something for someone to talk about. And so I think raising awareness, educating, working with local organisations or like global organisations, who knows? Get your foot in the door, just explore it. And a lot of people always say to me, "Oh, it's my dream to work with wildlife." And I was like, "Well, why don't you make it a reality?" And they're like, "Oh, I don't know where to start." Just there's so many different approaches in what you can do, and I mean some of the ones that I've just said there, but go on YouTube. I mean, there's so many videos there that you can look at, and you can do so many different forms of working in the wildlife industry. Like I tick quite a few boxes, like fingers and multiple pies, like wildlife photographer for Nikon. Some people say, "Oh, you only have to take pictures of animals," but those pictures might inspire people to want to pick up a camera and then go take a picture of an animal. And then some pictures have bigger impact. They can change the fate of many animals, you know. And then you could be a videographer in the wildlife world, or work on productions to like blue chip documentaries, or even grassroots productions on, I don't know, tadpoles in your local area and any impacts that are being made. And then you can work with zoos, even pet shops and local kennels, and volunteer at even dog homes or cat homes and rescues, all the way up to local reserves, good zoos, sanctuaries, which I've already kind of spoke about. I mean, there's literally so many ways for people to kind of get their foot in the door. It just takes that moment to do it. I just say, just do it. Nike.
And what's next for you personally?
Build the sanctuary. Continue to grow that. Buzzing for that, and where we can take it. So yeah, just continue to conserve species, rescue some more cats, I think, and develop the site. Personally, I've got a website to launch and sell my own prints of my photography. I get asked quite a lot if people can have my prints, so should probably sort that out and kind of do that world. Do more stuff with wildlife photography. I've kind of, because I've taken over Sanctuary, I've put that on the back burner, but get out and do some work and tell more stories about conservation issues around the world. So yeah, I mean, I'm going to Maldives in June. To discuss, work with Paddy actually, to get my advance, but also document whale sharks and manta rays, and look at the conservation work that's being done in the Maldives to protect corals and fish and mantas and whale sharks, which would be cool.
Not just cats.
Not just cats, all animals. Documentary working on saving Una. So that's hopefully going to finish soon, and then hopefully get a broadcaster to share that with the world, which would be really cool. I have a couple of stuff that I'm not allowed to talk about, which I'm working on. Maybe a podcast, who knows? I'd love to write a book one day. That would be cool. Maybe on the lion rescue or other bits. Just continue to grow. Influence policies and standards and animal care. That, like what I was saying about real world change. So, work with DEFRA more and the government to support that. Just keep raising awareness about animals.
Oh, good for you.
Just keep doing stuff. What's next for you?
Don't know. Well, I mean, I've got an idea, I've got a plan, but my plans change on a daily basis. They change with the weather cam. I mean, I want to grow. I don't want to stand still. Ideally, I'd like to buy a nice bit of land, either build a couple of big workshops on there or convert some farm buildings. I'd really like to plant a vineyard. We like wine, grapes, wine, and the south of England, the Kent Sussex area. It's the new Champagne region, so it's a good time to do it. So I'd quite like to do that. If I can combine the two, buy a big bit of land and grow some grapes, make some joinery, all on the same plot, that'd be pretty cool. I've got a bit of TV coming up. A bit of TV, same old sort of stuff, really. I'd love to do a really cool show. I mean, you know what it's like working on telly. You get the show that they tell you the show that you're going to make. I'd like to be able to go, I want to make this show. Let's do it. Kind of like what you're starting to do now.
Yeah.
I've got a few ideas, but it's a bit of a tricky time in TV. I think budgets are being pushed unless you're on going to Netflix or something with a really solid thing that they think they can market worldwide. There's not a lot of budget for telly at the moment. So, and I don't know if it's quite a lot of effort, as you know, doing TV, and it takes me away from here. It takes me away from my family when I do TV shows, which, I enjoy doing the shows and stuff, but when you're away so much doing it, things kind of maybe get left by the wayside a little bit. And what I find with work here, even though I've got a fantastic team, and it can sort of run on its own without me. If I take the eye off the ball, if I take my eye off the ball for a longer period of time, then things maybe start slipping through the cracks. And that, I want to be known as having the best joinery in the Southeast eventually in England, maybe even in Europe eventually. But you need to just keep your eye on the ball and push for that, and be kind of unmoving in your quality and in the time of production and everything else. You need to be the best at everything, and you can only be that if you're here making sure that's happening, really.
But also you need to back yourself and know that you can be that person.
Yeah, I mean, we can definitely. Yeah, we can definitely be it with the team that I've got, the vision that I show them and share with them all the time, and where I want it to go. We just got to keep the work coming in to be able to afford to get to that place, I think.
I think you're doing a pretty good job.
Well, I'm doing all right, but I'm hungry for it, man. And there's always more, isn't there? There's always, I remember when we got our first £1 million project, it was like, oh my God, this is amazing. This is us for like a year. I'd never even tendered for a project that big, probably not even half that size. And we'd gone from doing a project, the biggest project we'd done was like 150 grand, to then the next one was $1 million. And then I look back on that, I think, yeah, that was cute, got that project. And then, and now we're looking at projects, some projects like 10 million quid. And we're kind of, we're getting projects. It's not all about value and how much it costs, but we're getting projects in now that 5 years ago, man, I would have killed for. And we're getting these projects in now, and it's like, nah, it doesn't quite feel right. And we're just saying no to them. Not because it's not got the right value, but I just look at it, I think it's not really us, And what's been really nice about the last couple of years is when projects have come in, I thought, yeah, that's us. Either it's the right design style, it's the right way of using the materials, it's going in the right place, it's for the right clients, it's for the right clients, whatever it is, we're now just doing projects that are right for us. And if something comes in, I'm like, don't like the smell of that, don't touch it. Politely decline and pass it on to someone else. I know I've got a good network of other people in the same sort of industry who I can ring up and say, oh, we've got this project, it's not for us, do you want it? I'll put you in contact. And it's great, it works nice, I get on well with everyone in this kind of community that we've got here. But for me personally, I think I'm just going to keep doing what I'm doing, but just do it better and do it more and do it bigger and do it more efficiently. Everything more efficiently. That's my KPIs. If I can do everything 10% more efficiently year on year, we'll be killing it.
Yeah, and be more consistent, right? Just continue to have that consistency, because that's what I kind of live by. Is just, if you have that consistency, then I personally think you're just going to continue to grow and grow and grow. If you're inconsistent, then you're never going to get there.
I know.
That's like the biggest thing. Consistency is king and key.
Consistency, quality, innovation as well a little bit. I think we kind of, I don't broadcast it out to everyone. Social media, I think for me, I feel a little, although despite doing a podcast and being on the BBC, I feel a little bit disingenuous, doing the whole social media thing. Hi, I'm here, and look at what we're doing here.
That's literally what I do. That's really awkward.
But you do a really good job of it. But yours is also genuine, because when I look at your social media, you're not one of these guys who's like, oh yeah, I've got my new shirt from whoever, and I'm, look at me, I'm going to do a dance to some weird music. You're genuine, and you're telling the story that animals can't tell for themselves. You're telling their story, and you're explaining to people about how to help them, how you're helping them, how they can help them, what challenges they're facing in captivity and in the wild. Their environment's being destroyed, and or they're in captivity and their environments there aren't very good.
Yeah.
And it's genuine stuff that people are super interested. I'm super interested. My son, as you know, he's a massive fan of yours. He watches all your videos and stuff, and people eat that content up because it's good value. Whereas I think, like you were saying, well, your mates go, oh, what's he talking about? How many people are going to think, well, this is what I think anyway. How many people are going to watch my videos when I go, oh, I'm going to go over to the wood rack and go, oh, this is a bit of ash and this is a bit of oak. You can tell the difference because this and that. I'm sure some people might like it, but for me, I think my time, I'd rather spend doing it than necessarily talking about it. And that's not throwing shade on anyone that does it, because people want to watch it happen. Whereas for me, I'm like, oh man, who's going to be interested in what I'm doing? Really, they just want to see the finished product.
I respectfully disagree. I think what you do is unbelievable, and I'm fascinated by it. The whole process of what you do, from start to finish.
But then also,
and you're a great person. Like, you're very personable and so likable. No, but you are though. Like, I had the pleasure of working with you for like quite a long time. Into this year and last year, and I loved it. But I find it fascinating what you do. Everyone has a story to tell, and I believe personally that, I know you said about social media, you'd just rather just do it instead of like say it. I think you have the power to educate people on joinery or being a chippy. I'm joking. No, but yeah, you do. And you could literally inspire the next generation if you wanted to, or any age. Like if you launched a YouTube series or TikTok. I mean, social media can make people, and that's the power of social media. Used in the right way, used for good, it can change people's lives, and it's incredible. I mean, it's changed my life. I wouldn't be where I am today without social media. I wouldn't be sitting on this podcast without social media, if I'm being honest. I wouldn't be working with Disney or DEFRA or i4 or all of these huge brands and companies if I didn't have a presence on social media. And it's changed my life. I wouldn't be where I am. And I only just try and educate people on what I do. I think what I do is interesting.
Definitely is.
The focus is always going to be the animals. That's like what will get people interested. I'm just, I guess in a way, a face of my own social medias, but my thing is to give a voice for animals who don't have a voice. But you can apply that same method to what you do, and everyone can do that. But it was funny what you were saying about how like you look back at like 5 years ago about 100K or 1 million, stuff like that. I kind of look at that in a similar approach to what I do anyway with like the TV work and the sanctuary and the zoo and stuff. But for what I do on social media, like I look back at 100K followers and I think, oh, that was cute. Like I hit my first 1 million. Oh, wow, that's cool. But then 2 years later, I think, oh, that was cute. And there's no ceiling to what you do. And then the more followers I can, build on, the opportunities I get, the more I can raise awareness, the more impact I can have on people. And I've had tons of people now message me saying that I work with an organization working for wildlife now, off the back of my videos.
Really? Wow.
Yeah. And that's also real world change, which I'm really proud of. And they're my wins. Being completely honest, following is just a number. Like, have an actual impact is the thing that makes me want to do what I do. To be able to raise more awareness for wildlife and their threats and inspire and educate people to want to help and do something that's the end goal. And I'll never stop striving for that. But you can also apply that to what you do. But it's about being consistent and having that quality and be able to tell that story in a unique way, which will get people interested. But I've seen so many videos like with what you do. Like look at the pool guy, Miles, right? His videos is very simple. He just shows the process, does a voiceover of cleaning a pool. Yeah? He has like over 10 million followers and his life has changed.
Really?
Yeah. And honestly, it's wild what he does, but he deserves it because he's a top guy. He educates people on a subject which, like, I'll be honest, no one would probably think would be interesting, but it is. And he's made it fun and educational for not just kids, but adults as well. And now, like, loads of people know who he is. And that's applied to loads of influencers and creators. You should be that guy because
No.
like you could honestly, like, what you do is interesting and there's
But
always
anyone who makes things or does things, they could tell their own. That's why I started this podcast, is to hear the voices of people that make and do stuff and try and inspire people to do it. I suppose I'm actually being a contradictory here,
Yeah,
because
I did want to say that earlier.
I'm doing a podcast to inspire people, but I'm not doing it myself. I don't know. Social media is.
You've always got to start somewhere.
You have, yeah.
But and also like, there's no risk to it, like, necessarily. Like when I started it, I was like, what have I got to lose? I'm going to post a video. If it does well, great. I can continue to build. If it doesn't, all right, I've lost nothing. Like, it's not impacting me. I'm just showing what I do day to day anyway. It's not taking too much of my time. But all it takes is one video. That's all it takes to change someone's life. Like, if you look at my process on TikTok, it took 3 videos for me to go viral on TikTok and have 100,000 followers within a week. On Instagram, it took me over 300 posts to have over 800,000 followers. No, 400 posts, sorry. But that's consistent over 5 years. So you have to have that consistency and quality. And on YouTube, it took me over 100 videos, short form, but still takes time consuming. It took me 2 years to have over 100,000 subscribers. But I look back and I think, God, that was the best decision I've ever made. Like all those nights spent, or early mornings or days where I was stressing, creating content, filming myself like looking like an idiot, which you're going to talk about. But I look back and I think, God, no, I wouldn't change anything, because I am here today because of all the graft and effort I put in and consistency I've applied to what I do. And anyone, like, there's so many people like me, like in the wildlife world. But the only difference is that I've just picked up a camera and documented it and posted it.
And that's made all the difference.
And that is why I get the opportunities that I get. I was talking to Bear Grylls was like, he was saying like, because I was a young ambassador for Bear Grylls, and he was saying, I'm not the best presenter, I'm not the best adventurer or wherever it may be. Like, he's okay at them all, but he has that consistency and the passion and dedication to be where he is. And now he's like unbelievable, isn't it? He's mega. And that's like, I'm not saying I'm like Bear Grylls, but in terms of like, I'm not the best presenter, I'm not the best photographer, I don't have the most knowledge on wildlife and the threats, but I just managed to find a way to be able to communicate that and know a little bit about each thing to be able to deliver it in the right way. Like, when I look at it, my brother Aaron, like, he is, in my opinion, the best presenter within wildlife in the UK if he wanted to do it. I'm out and you hear Aaron, like, because he's unbelievable. But I get those opportunities because I put myself out there. And that's the difference. And that's because of social media. And yeah, that is the truth. And it changes everything, because then I have, it opens up things that I'll never ever be able to do. So it's game changing.
I guess off the back of that, I probably already know the answer, but if you were going to give younger Cam, 18-year-old Cam, but also anyone that is interested in becoming a conservationist, a wildlife photographer, whatever, if you're going to give one piece of advice, what would it be? Start
now and trust your gut and just do it. You have nothing to lose, and it could change your life forever.
Excellent. Well, I'll tell you what, Cam, this has been great. I think we probably not covered quite enough, so maybe you should come on again. when you're embarking on the next big project, you can come and tell me how well it went.
Give me a year, and I think a lot will change, and then I can share. I can actually I'll hopefully be able to back up a lot of things that I've said.
Good for you.
That's the plan.
Excellent. Well, thanks again for coming on.
Cheers, mate.
See you again soon.
Cheers.